you for tuning in to Transformation Talk Radio today, and I am your host, Sharon Rolph, and you're listening to Fresh Courage. So I love to help people live wholeheartedly, and this is I always like to start with daily do something that gives you happiness, health, and wealth, and we're going to approach this from a little different angle than what I've done before, but I want you to live wholeheartedly to enjoy everything and have a meaningful life. So perhaps, though, you've been knocked off your feet recently by a transition, like becoming an empty nester, retirement, or maybe having been a former caregiver, or becoming a widow, actually. So maybe you know somebody who has, if that hasn't happened to you. You know, it might leave you feeling confused, marginalized, perhaps invisible, useless, or even bored. And I've been through some of that myself, and I want to help you find a new direction and clarity. I want to help you find a place to fit in, to matter, and to make a difference. I'm the creator of Effortless Vitality Plan and the Longevity Blueprint. So we'll be telling you about that more later. Today, our program is about Pursue Your Spark. And my guest is Heike Yates, and she is an exercise and nutrition expert, a speaker, fitness studio owner, and has 30 years of experience in the industry. She loves to empower people in midlife to take back their health and strength with simple fitness strategies. She invented the Pilates with a resist wall program and teaches courses on that to trainers even. She is the creator of Pursue Your Spark and the host of a podcast by the same name. She's developed a 4-week plan to lean out and a 5-spark strategy that we're going to talk about today to guide women in midlife. She helps women to pursue their spark by designing simple and balanced fitness, nutrition, and mindset programs. Welcome, Heike. What are we going to talk about today or learn today, and why is it relevant?
Hey, Sharon, thanks so much for having me, and thanks for reaching out. I love your spring colors. Spring is here, and that gives everybody a lot more energy. Well, my mission is to help women, but also men, but primarily my online brand, Pursue Your Spark, is geared towards women in midlife, to help them not dim their light, but bright and shine bright and spark and live the life that they have dreamed of, or the life that they had that no longer is valid, as they're empty nester, as maybe a partner has passed away, divorce has happened. So many women tend to come to a standstill and not sure where to go from here. So this is really what I'm all about, is we're not dimming our light and we're not standing still.
Well, good. That sounds like a great message for anybody, everybody, because life kind of gets monotonous, doesn't it? And wears down our dreams and where we left our vitality, you know, we forgot. Has that been your experience?
I think it's not so much about forgetting. I think it's being overwhelmed with life.
Yeah.
Being beaten down by life, not having the right community that is supportive of potential positive goals, hanging out with the wrong crowd, as I like to say, and not with people that help you pursue your dreams, pursue where you are. And the overwhelm puts you in a place of stagnation, a place of fear, uncertainty. And if you don't have that boost or that connection with somebody who helps you to the next step, you're just sitting there hoping something will happen.
Yeah, we often talk to our kids about mixing with the wrong, or having the wrong friends, right? And we don't ever look at it for ourselves. Wow. It's time to take a new inventory, isn't it then?
That's true. It's like my mom is a great example. And she is a very giving person, and she reaches out to everybody and she helps everybody. So that means she's left behind when she needs help, because she always is the one person who goes about it and says, yes, I'm here, even though she's in pain and whatnot. But then when we looked at her friends, they were all negative people. every one of them, there was not one of them who would say, hey girl, I understand you're in pain. Can I do something for you? They were like, oh, you're in pain? But look at me, I am. Oh, I need help right now. And I said, Mom, you got to get rid of these naysayers. But the interesting thing is, we oftentimes don't see that this is a codependent relationship of this negativity. And it feeds off itself. One is the helper, one is the person who just sucks you dry of energy and goodness. And unless somebody shines a light down and says, hey, did you notice? It is hard to dig yourself out of these relationships or situations where you don't see the light.
Did your mom make a difference then, or change? Did new friends?
She started choosing better friends. She realized that, oh, what Heike is saying is true. And first she was like, oh, no. And then she's like, it's really true. She's always negative when I talk to so-and-so. And so she started distancing herself from those people and started hanging out with a different community. She's got a side job where she works in a fitness center of all places, and which is, of course, now closed. But this is where she met people who are wanting to stay fit, people that I want to get healthier and exercise and eat better. So she was among the right crowd of people for that type of mindset to get her away from these negativity. So, yep.
So have you always been like this, or was there a time when things shifted in your life?
Well, I've always been super uber positive. So, I mean, I know we're in the middle of the corona epidemic, but I am like rooting, I am making videos, I am doing all kind of mindset strategies, but I've not been into exercise into exercise as much as I have been in. It started about 30 years ago when I have my firstborn, who is now 32. And I got huge. I gained a ton of weight during the pregnancy. I always say that at month 8, I look like a pink elephant. I had this outfit that was sparkly and pink and gorgeous, and I had just ginormous belly. And people said, "Oh, you're going to deliver soon." And I was like, "No, it's only 8 months." But he was a nice, healthy, fat baby. He was great, but I was left with all this weight. And my friends at that time, also young moms, they said, oh, the local community center has classes where we do dancing and weight training and things. Let's go and try it out. They work on exactly what we need to lose weight from or get leaner in. And so I joined the class. I loved it. They asked me to become a teacher, and literally the rest is history. I just kept going in my career, from teaching classes to becoming a personal trainer to managing clubs and studios, Pilates, nutrition. And then about in 1970s? No, 10 years ago, about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I ran my first marathon.
Wow.
So the whole fitness career translated into me embracing fitness, not as a coach only, but I saw the benefits of exercise on my own body, how good I felt, how stronger I got, and just how overall more positive I was, that this translated into like, yeah, if I'm so positive and so strong, I could maybe try to run a marathon.
So the earliest time you saw this change coming was when you first had your baby, you said, and now you're saying that you've done a marathon and created your Spark business, right?
Sharon, it only started with a marathon. That was only a brief, like I said, yes, I can run 3 miles. Then my client at that time had a ticket for the Cherry Blossom 10 miler, and she says, can you run it for me? And I'm like, sure, I can run it. I had never run more than 3 miles. And then I had so much fun that I said, okay, if I can do this, I can run a marathon. So I signed up for the Montgomery County Roadrunners Beginner Marathon Program. And that was in 2008. Now remember, 2008. And I ran my first marathon, and my coach said, well, what's your goal? I said, I don't know. You're the coach. You tell me. And he says, just finish. And I was like, nah, I need a better goal. And he said, okay, qualify for Boston. For the Boston, you have to qualify for the Boston Marathon. So I said, all right. I qualified by 11 minutes to spare. So I rocked. Cool. So the following year, I did the Boston Marathon, which was awesome. So my running career continued. And then, of course, you're surrounded by crazy runners. And they say, how about we run a 50-miler? And I'm going, sure, why not? I can do this. And so I ran the JFK 50-miler about 4 years later. And in between, my son said, oh, Mom, how about we do a Tough Mudder? And I was like, oh, something's cool to do something with your son. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I don't know if any of your listeners heard of all these things. The Tough Mudder is an obstacle course where you schlep logs, you have to swim through mud, and you have to climb 15-foot walls. And I had no idea. I mean, I was like, okay, so we do this. And then I got injured because I was training and doing all these things. So I said, okay, what's the next thing that I can do? And I puttered around in my fitness life. And then I decided maybe I'd do a duathlon. I said, I can't swim. My husband is a triathlete. And so he did a swim, bike, run. And I couldn't swim at this point. So I said, I'm not swimming.
So we got into quite a journey there. My goodness. So when we come back, we're going to ask Heike how she got into podcasting and how long she's been doing that. So let's listen to more of her story. Thanks for listening to Transformation Talk Radio. Okay, we are back with Fresh Courage. It's your time to shine with Heike Yates, and she's been telling us about all her pursuits on the Ironman and marathons and so forth. And, she doesn't let life stop her. She's curious and looks for the possibilities. So what was the rest of your story? You were saying that you did Ironman too?
Yeah, well, it's like one thing leads to another, because that led me to, if I wanted to I did a duathlon, and that means a run and a bike, and I placed in my age group, and I was able to compete in the national championships, which is definitely an honor to be invited in, but I couldn't swim. So I can do the breaststroke with a head up. And my husband said, well, if you want to compete, you need to learn how to swim. So 5 years ago, I started learning how to swim, and I will never look back. And guys, let me tell you why. If you don't know how to swim, start now. It is the most amazing exercise as we get older. It's easy on the joints. It's doable. You can do it almost anywhere there's water. And it keeps the whole body fit. So that was my reasoning behind learning to swim.
So tell us about your podcast, Heike.
Yeah. So the podcast is an extension of the Pursue Your Spark, that as I wanted to reach more people, and many of us are reading less, unfortunately, and listening more. But personally, I'm a talker. I like to be on videos. I don't mind being on video or even a speech. And so I said, heck, let's start a podcast. So a friend of mine taught me how to do podcasting, how to create one, how to edit, where to post it. And so Pursue Your Spark podcast was born about 1.5 years ago, where I talk about nutrition, fitness, and mindset strategies, anything that my customers or my followers are asking me or wondering about. Mm-hmm. But I get lonely quickly. I get a lot of energy from people around me. So I invite guests on the show. And the women that come on my show share stories from all walks of life. And they're for anything from somebody who has chronic fatigue to a fighter pilot fighting for her life to somebody who's really made it in business. What we all have in common is that we're not standing still, that we're supporting each other through the stories we tell and sharing those stories. So there will be one person who says, yeah, this resonates with me. You know, I totally can understand this, and this person can understand me, so they can reach out to my guests and connect and then get even more information or help or just support. And that's
Inspiration. Yeah. Courage.
courage, absolutely, and get over fears. Or, you know, when some of the stories that I've had on the show, people are like, "You really want to talk about this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we have no shame, we have no fear. We're just going to go for it and see what happens." And it's been really positive for everybody. And it's fun for me to have somebody like you have me on your show today. I'm like, yay, this is so cool.
So you developed Pursue Your Spark in the last 5 years then?
Last 5 years, Pursue Your Spark went through several transitions until I found the right way to name my brand. My brand had different names before, but they all didn't resonate with what my message was. And so in the last 2 years, it really became Pursue Your Spark, as it is a positive force.
Yeah. So how is it different or similar to the fitness and nutrition experience that you had before? I imagine it's even better, but tell us.
Pursue Your Spark is only online. So I don't see people in person, like in a studio setting. So I work with people remote. And in order to be doing that, you have to be much clearer and more precise in what you want somebody to do. So I wouldn't per se go on a Zoom call with them and do exercises. They are in a group. They may email me, but it is all online through a program that people offer, the 4-week lean out program that has intermittent fasting and doable exercises that complement this program based on the Spark method. So it is a slightly different approach. What both have would be that I have all this experience. And Sharon, there's almost nothing that I can't talk about. I know it sounds so like, oh, look at her, but after 30 years, you've seen all the fitness trends that come and go, and the new gadget that comes and goes. But what in the end really works as we get older, as the metabolism slows down, is not the next fad diet, the next coolest gadget, or the next high intensity interval training, which for most women that are older, this is just too hard on the knees, too hard on the back, and it's just, the music is too loud and there's too much going on in the whole thing. I know it makes maybe sounds like this is really old 90s, but no, to me, it's like, I want to have a mindful workout, something that makes sense to the body and where you see results in the long run, and not say, okay, now I'm doing some cleanses for a month and, I lost all this weight, but look at me now.
So do you customize exercises then for people?
I customize. The program is not individually customized, as it's a group program. If people want to work with me individually, there is a portal they can go to afterwards and say, I've gone through the course, or even before, whenever they find me, and say, I want to really work with you. And I've just recently designed some programs where I can design for you a 4-week program that is geared specifically towards you. Or you use whatever equipment you have with progressions and so forth, and a 12-week program where you also get to interact with me more often than in the 4-week pre-designed program.
So yoga is good for everybody?
Nope.
I haven't done yoga, so tell me a little more about that.
Yoga and Pilates and weight training and all this stuff, not everything is good for everybody. And here's why. Number one, the most important thing is you should do what you love doing. If you don't like yoga and you have weak wrists, girl, that's not going to make you happy. Or it's like, somebody said to me the other day, at the end of the class, you have to lie on the floor, and I always fall asleep. And the teacher says, why are you falling asleep? I'm like, I'm just tired. Number one, pick something that you love doing. And many women, I don't know about you, Sharon, love to dance. I love to dance. I dance salsa. My husband and I are Argentine tango dancers. So I love to dance. But What I always say is as we get older, we need more weight-bearing exercises. So walking, if you can't run anymore for whatever reason, definitely start walking, and strength training to increase bone density. You know, osteoporosis with the changes in hormone is lurking around the corner, and we don't want to set ourselves up for hip fractures and other spinal conditions. So it's not only the nutrition that's super important as we age, but it's weight-bearing exercises and strength training, which could be weights or these stretchy bands. Swimming is a good strength training as well. But what's most important to me is cross-training. And that means that you vary what you do every day. You may walk on Monday, you take a Zumba class on Tuesday, on Wednesday you go swimming, on Thursday you do Pilates. You know, something along those lines. Also, it increases your community of people.
Yeah.
That is a huge part too, that you're not just honing in on one group only, but that you have a lot of friends that you can do things with and hang out with as you're creating those different exercise modalities. So not everything is good for everybody, but it has to be the right thing for you. But it's important to try stuff.
Well, and I love that idea of having different groups that you're doing things with, because I'm getting on a soapbox about isolation as we age. That's the first thing that can lead you to depression and lead you to declining health and lead you to feeling useless and bored. So I like that idea. I might have to take that one myself.
Because it's so fun, because I know from my own experience that my marathon friends don't dance tango. The tango people don't do marathons. So they're completely different groups, and we're like, oh, today we're going dancing, or today we're just, hang out with the running people, or so it's a different stimulus too, and it's just fun, I think.
Well, and I'm starting to get fairly good about when a commercial comes on. If I'm watching, I like to watch Wheel of Fortune. Well, in a break, let's stand and do, stand on one leg instead of two, and see how long I can do it. And it's a simple thing, but it's part of that strengthening your muscles. And in Seattle we get a lot of rain, so I'm trying to figure out how can I supplement, because I'm pretty good about walking every day, but with some other options too. So Zach, I think we're time to take a break. So we'll come back and talk about the elements of spark that Heike has set up a program for. So now we're going to talk to Heike Yates about her spark, pursue your spark. So you say that the S is standing for scan your life and assess what holds you back in moving forward. So do people ever need help with this?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody needs help with this, because we all go through transitions in life, whether, like I said earlier, whether you are going through a divorce, whether you lost a partner, whether more like one of my clients moved into an assisted living home. There's always a transition in our life, sometimes larger than not, or maybe you've been with your partner for 50, 60 years and it becomes the same, and it's very comfortable, but there's nothing exciting about it.
Yeah.
And so when you shine the light on something that somebody else from the outside looks in and says, hey, have you thought about maybe that you guys should take a trip twice a year? Or, hey, how about you take turns cooking meals? Or how about gardening? Maybe you should share the gardening chores, so it's not just him always mowing the lawn. Or things like this, when you think about it on the broader spectrum, and most people don't, we're so in our own lives and so, so stuck in the pattern. We're just doing a little marching thing. We're just staying there, and it's all good until it's not good. And that's when we have to really figure out our why, because we are living much longer than generations before, and I want to have the bestest life ever. And I want the listeners to think about this. You're not done yet. You know, we're just starting. It's like, woo, what else can I do?
Yeah. Okay, so P then is for plan a bold journey. Like you mentioned, taking a trip every couple times a year. I need to plan to do that.
And the bold journey, Sharon, is also thinking outside the box. That's why I wrote it this way.
Yeah, okay.
Not just going small potatoes. Write down your biggest dreams, the craziest thing you've ever said that you wanted to do or you saw in a magazine, and you go like, wow, whether you're going to do it or not, but be as bold and as big as you can dream it, and write it in that journal.
Well, and that's when you start thinking about being bold, that the flame of that spark starts kindling and saying, what else could be possible? So go ahead.
So as you have these big, bold dreams, you want to choose with the amplify. You want to amplify what is really lights you up. You look at the things, you put them into little containers, like the vacation, the food, the exercise, maybe being more in touch with the family, more of how to break it down to manageable bite sizes, basically. And that's where it's oftentimes a lot of excuses come into play. I don't have money. I am too old. I'm in a wheelchair. I live by myself. Oh, I've never traveled. Or, oh, I don't know how to cook. So there's a lot of excuses, which ties us basically into the roadblocks as well, where you go, these are not roadblocks. These are excuses or explanations of why you're not amplifying and why you're not going for what you really want in life. And so,
well, and the sad thing is that the number 3 regret that people have in their dying moments is they didn't let themselves be happier.
yeah.
So you're helping us plan against that, right?
Absolutely. Or for happiness, plan for happiness in a positive way. Because it's, you know, you don't need a lot of money to be happy and to do something fun. It's the other day, one of my clients who is now, I haven't seen since she is quarantined when her husband has health issues. And she says, well, I'm going to the local YMCA, so to hang out with my friends in this class. And she says, and then I'm going with this other group and we're going walking in the mall. And I said, you shouldn't be doing this. And she said, oh, well, afterwards we go out for lunch. And I'm like, why don't you save money? You walk in the park, you bring your own lunch, you're close to home if you need to rush home for your husband. And it still is fun. You then outside instead of indoors, you eat healthy meals that you made instead of relying on where the friends think they want to go. You can keep the social distance and you're available for your husband to, like I said, in case he needs you to rush home. And she was like, I hadn't thought of that either. I was like, there you have it.
So let's step back just a second, and because when you say scan your life and that people often need help with this, how do you provide that help online?
Questions. We have questions that I have in my program. I have worksheets that people have to work through. Okay. And then we have a private Facebook group where we do this together, and whoever chooses to participate can participate in this searching the soul, basically. And just in the private Facebook group, it's like nobody else but the people in the group will ever see that conversation. So you have to trust the people in the group. But I have worksheets, little writing assignments to actually get going. So you're not just saying, like, here, I hand you the solution. You have to work for the solution.
Yeah. Yeah, because it kind of stimulates a different part of our brain, doesn't it?
Yeah, because if you just get everything handed, then you never have to work for it. And there's really no creativity. There's no, like, what would I really like?
Mm-hmm. So the A of Spark stands for what?
Amplify.
Amplify. Turn up the burner, right? So we've got 2-3 minutes maybe to talk about that. What is amplify? How do you go into that?
You amplify by taking your skeleton, what you have with your dreams and hopes, and with what the plan is, that what the ideas are, and put them into action. Like I said, for instance, it's used to travel. You say, okay, this is another worksheet we're doing in the course, is here's the worksheet. What's your dream? I want to go, it's probably a bad example right now, but go on the cruise. Go to Italy. So another bad one. Let's go somewhere on vacation. Let's go to Colorado. Okay, I want to go to Colorado. Okay, what do I need to do in order to get to Colorado? I need to start saving money now. I need to look into affordable flights, transportation. How do I get there? How long will I gonna be gone? Do I have a dog that needs some care while I'm gone? Where will I stay? What activities are there when I'm going there? What is it that I want to do? How do I get to these activities? So there's a lot of planning to get around the roadblocks, the obstacles, the objections, and get a clear picture of saying, okay, I have to save money for, like I did. We ran the marathon in Antarctica. It was a really expensive trip. And I said to my husband, I'm going to start saving money and I'm going to plan it. And for 3 years, I saved money for us to run a marathon in Antarctica with a boat of 100 other runners. And we saw whales and penguins. It was one of the most amazing trips, but I made a plan, spark plan. I had the idea, I wanted to do it, I figured the roadblocks out, and then I saved up the money to make it happen. And this is the same as we do in the course, is we pull it together in a cohesive way where you go, okay, this is doable. Maybe not this trip, but that trip, or this is, if I change things around a little bit. So there's some soul searching and investigation concerned.
Yeah, I don't know. I tend to put myself last, like a lot of us do, I guess. But last year I went to a conference in Ann Arbor, and I flew out there with some free points, and I came back on Amtrak because I figured that was going to be my only vacation. And Amtrak, I got to see lots of country and explore some different parts of the nation. But I keep missing my thought. Oh, that you don't let things stop you is a pretty key point. I decide what stops me. So I've come across travel where people in a wheelchair would pay your way to push them in their wheelchair on a trip, or you all you have to pay for is your transportation there, because the volunteering you do once you get there is going to be, paying for your housing and so forth. So there's some pretty interesting can-dos that if you take those blinders off and say what's possible, what a difference that makes.
And it's also when I think, 55 and up is now senior status. Now I pay only $4 at the pool instead of $7, so I'm saving money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in fact, maybe you have a friend that would actually pay your way to take them on a trip. They've taken off their blinders and they're inviting you to enjoy it with them. I think I, in fact, know a couple of ladies that did that. Went to Hawaii. So
sharing a room is also more cheaper than paying for your own room.
Mm-hmm.
Good example.
Yeah, one of the things I've had in my mind for maybe 15, 20 years is to take a walking vacation, and I haven't done that yet.
Ooh, I had El Camino.
Oh, I had a guest on here that had done the El Camino. What a trip that was.
You should look into this. My daughter did it a couple of years ago, and she loved it. It's so doable, Sharon. It is not as strenuous as some people make it out to be. You just have to take your time.
Well, and she talked about how you come back a different person.
Yeah.
because
Maybe.
there's a lot of alone time and so forth, and that's important too, because that's that changing who you are. So all right, when we come back, we're going to wind up with the R and the K of spark and see what Heike's doing now, and talk about how you can get in touch with her. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned. All right. Thank you for listening to Fresh Courage. It's your time to shine. And we are on the Transformation Talk Radio Network. And I'm Sharon Rolph, your host. And my guest today is Heike Yates. And she's been telling us about her Spark program. And so the R and K in Spark is rock your roadblocks. I imagine that means blow up your roadblocks. When life backfires is unpredictable, and the K is kick ass by designing your new lifestyle. So it's all about doing some new choices right here. Is that right?
No more excuses, no more explanations. Why or why not? It's all about doing. It's taking action. I'm a big action taker. And so let's take those roadblocks, let's take those objections, or the sometimes that are not even real objections.
Yeah.
Clarify them and see if they're really something that hold you back, or if it's just what you think that holds you back. And let's do something with it. Let's take action. And kick ass was to me something more than, okay, I'm going to do something. No, you are doing. Let's move. Let's see.
It's not try. You mean?
No, it is a try, but it's like with success in mind and not saying failure first. No, we're going to succeed one way or another. It may come out as a different result than one has thought, but it definitely is like, let's go. It's go time. It's like we always say when the race starts, it's okay, you're ready to rock. It's go time. Let's do it.
Start your engines.
Half the fun is the journey. And many people miss out on that journey. They say, well, like I said, the spark. They don't scan, they don't know why. They don't put big dreams to it. They're not separating their dreams. They're not putting the roadblocks out of the way. And they're not kicking ass. So that means they're not willing to do the work. You have to be willing to do the work. It could take weeks, months, years. It doesn't matter. But you have to do the work in order to change something, and to not just make it a dream or a hope or a wish, but reality. And the reality may change along the way.
One day I was getting ready to start my walk, and I thought, you know what? I feel a little less than my best. And I thought, well, I'm going to walk anyway and see, if I, often while you're on your way, you start feeling better. Well, I actually ran into one of my neighbors down here and chatted with her a little bit. And when I came back home, I said, well, see there, Sharon, don't you feel so much better because you actually visited with somebody? And even the El Camino walking, yes, there's a lot of alone time, but the richness of all the people that live on that trail and are making it, pouring into your life, water and food and so forth, but their rich stories or experiences add such a color to your trip.
Absolutely does. I mean, also the people that hike around you, because you, like you said, you will be alone, but you also will have company along the way. Or people walk 11 kilometers a day. And that's like what everybody just seems to walk one day, or 8 kilometers. And you end up meeting in the same town. That means that there's only so many bedding and so many restaurants and so many places to eat. So you meet the people you met on the trail again. It must be a really cool experience.
Well, and I saw a video fairly recently of somebody who was in a wheelchair, and his best buddy, they had gone to high school together, I guess. And his best buddy agreed to push him the whole route. And talk about removing your alibis or excuses. It was harder than they had anticipated, but they finished. And they were, like everything else in life, changed forever.
Yeah. And that's really like living your best life, living your happiest life till we all have to go from this planet. But it's like you just make the best of it.
So let's explore a little bit further this. I wish I'd let myself be happier because that's part of your lifestyle that you're talking about, right?
Yeah. That's what you said, like women tend to dim their light. They take on too many responsibilities. They never say no. They are the ones that feel guilty a lot of times over things that they shouldn't feel guilty. And all these things are dimming the light and not let you shine instead of shedding those layers of bad feelings, obligations, must-haves. Another one we talk in the course, the must-dos and have-tos, and just living what you want it to be and not how other people see you.
Well, in my little blog, Daily Do Something for Happiness, Health, and Wealth, it reminds me of the one of my blocks I've made. It was a quote by Matthew McConaughey. Pretty unusual person to give quotes, but he said, take care of yourself first, because in doing that, that's a sweet spot, because then everybody else around you will feel better for you having taken care of yourself. And for some reason, that just does not compute for us women.
No, that's tough. I mean, we're the nurturers. We're usually the people that are in the role of caregiver from the time we're even born. You know, just remember or think about, you know, a daughter and a son, what the expectations are. And the patterns have not changed as much as many people try to make us believe, I think. The patterns are still, the boy plays with the train, the girl plays with the doll, with a few exceptions. The girl learns to cook, the boy does cool whatever projects. And it still is that pattern that we're in. And we are raised to cook, to take care of mom and dad when they're old, to do all these caregiver things. Then we become a parent, and most women, and that's generalized, of course, most women are there to take care of the kids and to do most of the chores and run around. And then as we get older, we're the ones that, again, take care of the parents.
Yeah.
So it's that whole wheel of people pulling on us and trying to us to be more part of their life, which I get. But on the other hand, we need to, like you said, we need to take care of ourselves first.
Okay, so let's tell people how they can get a hold of you, your email, phone number if you want. Do you have a newsletter or freebie?
Very simple. My freebie is the 5 Spark Lifestyle Planner. So go to my website, heikeyates.com. It's all one word. It's HEIKEYATES.com. You can find me on Facebook under the same name, on Instagram under the same name, on LinkedIn, on Pinterest. Just Heike Yates, just like I said it. You can find me everywhere. And yeah.
Cool. Well, and you can find me at effortlessvitality.org. And I have these little art pieces. Some of them are on the Quilted Petunia store in Etsy. And I have quite a few things out on YouTube. And I'm starting to ask all my guests and my people who listen to our show to rate and review, because that's how, if I was to find some sponsors, they pay a lot of attention to the rating and the reviews. So please take care of that for us. And let's see. I have Facebook, Effortless Vitality. And my old podcast is out there also under Maximize Retirement. But I was interviewing people just like I am with Heike today. What are you working on now, and what's motivating you, Heike?
Right now, it's all about online training, reaching people in the online world, teaching people how to use Zoom. I just did a video tutorial for people that are interested in working with me online but don't know how this all works and how to install Zoom and what to expect when it comes to that. And I'm preparing for another launch of the 4-week Lean Out program in June, which will start out with a 5-day challenge. But I can't say more about this just yet.
Okay, so let's show some interest to Heike in her podcast too. That's another option. When is the podcast happen?
Podcast every Thursday.
Every
Yeah,
Thursday. Okay.
every
All right.
Thursday. We're everywhere. We're on Apple, Twitcher, wherever you can listen.
Okay, so I want to thank Heike for being our guest today. We've had quite a conversation, and I come back for next week's show is Gary Malkin, and it's all going to be about music and healing and transforming our world through wonderful images and music. So thanks for listening, and stay tuned.